Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be reviewing the Moto E 2020 and seeing whether it's still a good budget phone in 2022. Now, for the specific phone I have here, I was able to acquire this off eBay for $20 with a damaged screen, and they typically go for $50 to $60 used in good condition. Starting off, let's talk about the appearance of this phone. It comes in a very nice deep blue color with a plastic back and aluminum sides. The plastic back certainly makes the phone more durable than a glass one, though as seen here is much more prone to picking up scratches. It also has a rear fingerprint reader, which I honestly prefer over Face ID, which also serves to display the Motorola symbol. Even by 2022 standards, this is still a quite stylish phone, and I honestly really like the clean and simple look of it. Next, let's talk about the hardware it contains. For your money, you are getting the Snapdragon 632 chipset, which is a mid-range processor. The phone also comes with 2GB of RAM, which is fine for most phones. Generally, usage felt pretty responsive, but at times the phone would have small stutters. Gaming was decent on the phone, but some games struggled to maintain good frame rates. Another thing to note is that some major games such as Genshin Impact and Rocket League Sideswipe were not compatible with the phone. The phone has decent battery life, sporting a 3550 mAh battery, which gives it around a day and a half of usage. I didn't really ever have to worry about the battery running out as long as I charged it every evening. Speaking of charging, the phone uses a micro USB port for charging, which was outdated even back in 2020. Especially in 2022, this is a pretty disappointing feature to see and limits the compatibility of your phone. Now in terms of network, the phone is 4G limited, giving it less of a future-proofing when they eventually shut down the LTE networks. Another issue that the phone had was that Wi-Fi connectivity was often very poor, and I found that it struggled to maintain good speeds even when close to the router. The phone has a decent 720 by 1520 display, sized at 6.2 inches and with a pixel density of 271 ppi. Even with low resolution, the screen seems reasonably sharp, and the colors are pretty good considering it is an IPS screen. In peak daylight hours, the phone could seem a little dim, but that is to be expected as most phones struggle with this issue. Now, one of the weak points of this phone is certainly its storage situation, with it only containing 32GB of onboard storage. The phone starts to feel crammed after only a few photos and games, and the operating system already takes up most of the storage. Luckily, this phone does come with a microSD slot, allowing for more expansion, so it might be a good idea to factor an SD card into your purchase if you do end up picking up one of these phones. Now let's take a moment to talk about the phone's cameras. It has a rear dual camera setup with a 2-megapixel depth camera and a 13-megapixel main camera. The phone takes decent photos, but as all budget phones do, struggles with low-light photography. It does come with HDR built in, however, which is a very nice feature to see. Hello guys, currently filming on the rear camera of the Moto 2020E here, and it's actually pretty good looking. The colors are pretty nice, it's not too grainy, and it doesn't have any optical stabilization, so of course the footage is going to look a bit shaky, but overall it's pretty good. Now there's one thing I would complain about, which is that the max is 1080p, and in 2022 this is a bit low, but besides that, there's not really much to complain about, and considering this is a budget phone, it does have some pretty good video. The phone is capable of recording at 1080p at 60 FPS, but without optical image stabilization, recording can look very shaky. The camera app also has slow mode and time-lapse modes, and even a manual mode if that's your thing. Now the front camera is in a teardrop shape and is 5 megapixels. Photos and videos are manageable on it, and it would be sufficient for Zoom or duo calling. It can also record at 1080p, but only at 30 FPS. Here's a test recording with the front camera on the phone. It's decent enough for most stuff, but not great. It shoots in 1080p at 30 FPS. So is this phone worth buying? Well, it still misses out on some of the features more expensive phones contain, like NFC and multi-camera setups. I'm not counting the depth camera. However, it does contain some features I wish more premium phones had, such as an aux jack, expandable storage, an FM radio, etc. On the bottom line though, this phone is still very usable in 2022 and can handle just about anything you throw at it, except for some gaming. While it lacks some more premium features, it has enough to get the job done, and one can't really complain for how cheap it is. One last thing to mention, make sure you buy the unlocked version, as I have an unlocked Verizon model, and AT&T doesn't officially support it on their networks, meaning no calling. Anyway, if you want an extremely budget phone, or a backup phone, consider picking up this one, and if you also enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like. Thanks for watching.